Hello and welcome to yet another Grumpy's Rehab Facility video. Today I'm very pissed off, so let's roll the intro.
Hello, my name is Grumpy. Got the grumpy eye. Got the grumpy eye. Got the grumpy eye. Got the grumpy eye.
So, if you're wondering why is Grumpy pissed off again, well, there's a couple of reasons. And one of the reasons is this.
Yeah, you kind of like led into it quite well there. The merchantman, that's like the big elephant in the room for me.
I didn't say this.
No, but it's the big
book.
expectation.
That's clearly on your mind.
It is on my mind. It's a very, very beautiful elephant, but it's very large. I think that's the one that, that's the one for me that is got the most unknowns around it. We're still kind of actively working on it due to basically people chasing new adventures and to slight priority changes. We've kind of got a skeleton team that are currently working on the exterior. The exterior is progressing along well. It's kind of, it's gone through most of its modelling. We're starting to do kind of material breakups and that sort of stuff and really, defining the overall exterior shape. But we do need to look at that and decide whether or not it's, now is the right time for it with the current team we've got, or whether or not we, focus on other ships. So it's still in progress at the moment. When it's going to actually come out is completely unknown at the moment.
We're at a sort of like crossroads with it, where we've done a lot of, like the interior is white box, the exterior is further along, and we're at a point where we continue down the path and we absorb that amount of time that this ship of that size is going to take, or we, production phrase, put a pin in it and move on to something else, which is going to be a better use of our time. So I can hear all the merchantman owners screaming now. But like, there is a big capital ship. Maybe there are smaller ships that would come sooner that add better value to the game.
But do I need to remind you that a couple of months ago, or exactly 3 months ago, they said this.
This question is simply, what is the plan on getting the older concepts out the door in a reasonable time frame? Some of the 2015 ships are 7+ years old, like the Endeavor.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it comes down to priority and scope and resources, which is fun, boring management stuff that I have to deal with on a daily basis. The vehicle team, and I think I've talked about this in the past, like we work to like a 18 to 24 month ahead of time schedule, and we get sort of fairly locked into that. A lot of the other teams in CIG are a lot more agile, so to speak, but we have quite a long lead time because these ships take a long time to make. And if there's any artists in chat, they will know that like chopping and changing on a weekly basis is just terrible for your concentration and getting into the zone of doing things. Like the worst thing we can do is go, hey, you're working on an Aegis ship for 3 weeks. Oh, by the way, now you're working on an Origin ship for 3 weeks. Oh, by the way, now you're working on a Drake ship for 3 weeks. So we like to, wherever we can, and there has been exceptions in the past, once we start a ship, we see it through to the end of release, and we don't tend to start ships now in production without fairly firm guarantees that the gameplay is going to come with them at the end. That was different way back in the past. We would just work on a ship, we'd ask for the gameplay. If the gameplay wasn't there, we'd shove it out. Example, Starfarer. That's not how we want to do things these days, and hopefully people have seen that over the last, I don't want to say 3-4 years, where we deliver ships with their gameplay because it improves the experience for everyone.
And a couple of months prior to this, or exactly 5 months ago, they have said this.
It'd just be like driving around in a giant canoe. I mean, it's like you need the multi-crew gameplay, you need the resource management in order to have a capital ship experience. To put it out right now would be disappointing in more than one way.
Yeah.
I know people want to have it. They want to see it. They want to walk around. They want to walk around and take all the pictures and everything. And then after you're done with that for the first 8 hours, you go, well, now I want to do something with it. Yeah, it's a very big gladius, and that's not what we want to. That's not what we want that experience to be.
Yeah.
Yet you have released the Corsair, the 400i, and I'm not going to continue because I already did this video basically. And the only thing that you can interact with inside of them is the doors and the switches and the lights. But let's continue.
Why do some ships get prioritized over others? There are some ships we've been waiting for, like the currently being built Banner Merchantman since 2013.
This is another thing could write a book on. There is no one answer that applies to every ship. It is a combination of the resources we have at the time. If you take, if I could click my fingers now, put the Polaris into production, that would take out a big chunk of the UK team for maybe 12, 18 months, which means we can't deliver a constant flow of other vehicles in patches. So you could go multiple patches without any vehicle release or any support for other features coming out. So we have to balance that across not just delivering vehicles, but supporting the other teams. The last few years, we've been trying to not push vehicles out without their gameplay. So things like the Crucible, we could make the Crucible now, but we don't really want it floating around without the repair gameplay to go alongside. So whilst I can control the production of the vehicle, I have to rely and work with other directors to get their side delivered alongside it. And the problems that affect me of, hey, we've changed our minds for IE, we want to do this instead, also affects them for other things, like the feature they're working on now might be delayed for another team, which delays the feature I need for this vehicle. So we chop and change a lot. And then also, if you have artists especially, hey, you're working on this big ship for 18 months. You don't want to put them on another big ship for 18 months afterwards. You want to break that and give them, hey, here's a nice little snub ship to do. So that's why you might see like a random ground vehicle come out from nowhere, because they are much quicker relatively to do and gives those people a nice like palette refresh of what they're doing.
So if that was the case, why did you start working on the Banner Merchantman? And why did you start teasing us and hyping it up and telling us that it's going to be soon-ish in the game and stuff like that? Why did you do that? I have no other explanations except that you wanted to sell a bunch of merchantmans and during the Alien Week and during the IAE that is currently running. And so tell me, CAG, what the fuck? Now you're gonna announce the Galaxy, which is also a capital ship. Well, it's maybe a sub-capital ship. It doesn't matter. We know too little about it. But last year, you fucking announced the Odyssey. And you showed us, like, the interior, the white box phase, and you said that you were working on it. And where's the fucking Odyssey? It's not on the progress tracker. It's not anywhere. And if you're saying that you don't want to have a team work on a ship for like 3 weeks and then pull them away from the ship, and you want to focus on something that's going to be released, then why are you focusing on the Banner Merchantman? Why did you focus on the Legionnaire once you sold it, and then stopped focusing? I think it was November the 27th when you said that you're not working on the Legionnaire anymore. Why did you start working on because you're saying that you're going to work on smaller ships? Why did you start working on the Tumbrel? I think it was the Ranger, and then stopped in September, and then you started working again on the Apollo, and you stopped in September because of Squadron 42. Because here's the thing, I completely understand that the Merchantman is not supposed to be an empty, huge-ass Gladius or oversized Caterpillar or the oversized C2. Completely understandable. But also, when are you going to release it? When are you going to, and yes, these are the when questions that you despise. When are you going to release enough gameplay loops and features to the game that the game itself can support a Banner Merchantman and a Liberator and the Odyssey and the Javelin and the, like, should I like stop or should I just continue the Endeavor, the whatever? So when is that going to happen? Oh, sure. when you finish Squadron 42 and all of the 3 sequels that you have to do. You tease the 600i during IAE right now, the rework, and then you said that you do not know where to put it in your schedule. And you're gonna work on the Galaxy, and you're gonna tease the Galaxy, and you're gonna say, this is gonna be amazing, just give us the money, give us money, and then nothing. Because you're focusing on Squadron 42. But also your chairman said during CitizenCon that focusing on Squadron 42 is the best thing that you ever had, because yes, your focus is on Squadron 42, but the PU and the Star Citizen, the game Star Citizen, because it's a separate game that we're paying for, but you're developing another game, is gonna have more things faster in a more complete state. And we have had a single patch the whole fucking year. And here's one more thing that nobody thinks about. Most of the ships that we already have in the game, most of them have to be reworked. Because most of them are not, they do not have physicalized components and a bunch of other systems that are needed for the pipeline, or should I say the rework of the pipeline that is called resource management. And yeah. So they will need to rework all the ships, and it's not just simply plugging stuff in and adding stuff. No, some of them need to be completely redone, and that's gonna take them a lot of time. And on top of that, we have, 20-something capital ships that are on the backlog, and then we have a bunch of other ships, like smaller ships, that are also in the backlog. For what reason? Because CAG has no idea how to manage this project, because they keep on adding ships, they keep on saying, well, you will be able to do this, 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 and this, and then they release ships that are basically oversized Gladiuses, just boats where you can interact with the switches, and that's it. Like, the best addition to the game was the cutter. By far in the past 2 years, because it's a starter ship, because it can do everything that you can do in the game, except of course mining and maybe salvage once we get it. But the only thing that you can do in the game is basically what a cutter is made for, and it can do everything. So that's the best addition. It's cheap, it's good, it's reliable somewhat, and that's it. And then yeah, you have the fighters and all of that, but that's the only other game loop that we have, or bounty hunting and PvPing and all of that shit. So when are we gonna get more systems in the game? When are we gonna get more features? What are you doing, CAG? Literally, I watched this video and I was like, are you serious that you're saying this during IAE? Are you serious that it's so complex and so hard for you to do the main game loop of the Merchantman, which would be the cargo, and selling cargo to other players? If that's too hard for you, and I know that NPCs are supposed to do that, but if it's too hard for you, the CAG, to code the NPCs and do that, why don't you let us do that? We already have an ammo trader, maybe add something to it, and that's it. Is it that fucking hard? Is it that hard to give us something, like any other game loop, any other feature that we need for the ships? Like the pipeline, and I'm you can see that I've been playing Star Citizen the past few days, and I was streaming that, and it was an experience. And you can see the frustration coming back again. And if it's so hard, why are you hyping it up? The only reason that I can say here is because you're trying to scam people. And I'm pretty sure that those are not your intentions. But do you understand how it looks like? It looks like a fucking scam. And that's it. Now, on the other hand, we have the SRV, and that's been progressing, so that means that we're gonna get the tractor beams and all of that on our ships, and the SRV is gonna have the first tractor beam. Also, they're gonna probably, in the back of the SRV, there should be a monitor and an external camera, so that should be in the game. So maybe the mirrors are gonna work then, and maybe we're gonna have cameras on our A90 jumps, downstairs in the other bridge, the second bridge. So maybe that's gonna help a bit, but also please guys, like it's been a fucking year. You can understand our frustration. You gave us a single patch for the whole year, and I can understand that PS is not working out, but this is like the third rendition of the P cache. We had the P cache, the I cache, and now it's PES. So guys, like figure shit out, straighten up, and make the fucking game that we all like paid for and that we all want to play. Is it that hard to understand what we want? On the other hand, we had a topic where like a bunch of pirates and the developers and cargo holders and me, like in between, I guess, we were talking about, well, I said something, they never responded, of course. They were talking about the cargo refactor and the fact that it's not gonna be 70% of a chance for you to have the soft death anymore because they don't like it. Like apparently all of a sudden they don't like it. That's cool because I didn't like it. Most of us didn't like it. So now you will need to destroy the ship. Like you can basically finish off a ship. So that's good, but also they have no idea what to do with the self-destruct and if it should work or not, or how it should work, or like is that gonna de-incentivize, and it is going to de-incentivize pirates and people that are they want to board your ship, because like why would you try to board it if somebody's already hit backspace and the ship is gonna blow up? So yeah, like seeing that, I just like realized that they have no idea what they're doing. Instead of them building the systems for the game, they again want to do a tier 0 that they're going to rework, and it's going to be completely different in the end at some point maybe, but like we're going to get stuck with that for a couple of years, and then they're going to rework that, and then we're going to get a tier 0 or something else, etc, etc, etc. So instead of not letting cargo haulers backspace or anyone backspace so they can get boarded, so they can have like a PvP experience with like FPS experience actually, and incentivizing cargo haulers to do their game loop by giving them insurance. Instead, they're trying to figure out how to work around that. Like we, the players, are working around the bugs. They, the developers, are working around their basically laziness, because that's what it is. And like maybe it's not laziness, but it is mismanagement. Because if you're gonna add something that like one player group is gonna profit from a lot, and that player group needs the other group to play the game loop, so the cargo and the pirates, and the cargo holders are not going to hold their cargo because there are pirates now and they can destroy them, and it's a lose-lose situation for them. If you de-incentivize them, the pirates are not going to be happy and the cargo holders are not going to be happy. But if just one group is happy, that doesn't fucking work. But if you give, like, I don't know, insurance to the cargo holders and give the game loop to the pirates where they could board and steal their cargo, then both of the sides will be happy. Well, the cargo holders wouldn't really be happy if they're pirated, but it's not that big of a deal because they could return their funds and they would like lose, I don't know, 10-20% of what they invested. So instead of doing that, they're trying to find a workaround. Like, why? Because this is not gonna be the end result. Why aren't you working on the end fucking result? This is the only game that I know of that just keeps on adding shit with intention to rework it in the future, because this is not what we want something else, but we're gonna do it anyway because fuck you, that's why, and you're gonna be stuck with it for, I don't know, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. We're stuck with the inventory system for a year and maybe a half, and yeah, we still didn't have the inventory system updated at all. In 3.18 we're gonna get like one more button and that's it. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, is it that hard? And then you can see that I'm frustrated. And then they're gonna rework the whole fucking thing at some point, whenever they feel like it. I guess the message behind this whole video, and for you that watched my yesterday's stream, you will know that I have a severe stomachache and I'm feeling really dizzy, and I'm like barely talking right now, and that's one of the reasons why I'm overly pissed off right now. But I guess what I'm saying is, don't buy anything during IE. Honestly, Fuck that. They're gonna tease you with the Galaxy. They're gonna say that they're working on it. They said that they're working on the A1, the C1, and the E1, and that's like why they ditched the Legionnaire and the Tumbrel, whatever, Ranger and the Apollo and all of that. So basically what they keep on doing in the past, 2 years is telling you that they're gonna do something and then asking money for it and then putting a pin into it whenever they're done with the sales and whenever they're happy with the amount of money that they made and having it in the backlog for the next couple of years. And yeah, so like, how do you call that? You tell me. That is it for today, guys. Thank you for watching, and thank you to all my patrons for supporting the channel. If you want to support the channel, there's going to be a link down in the description of the video. You can support me instead of supporting CAG. Like, here's the thing. I love the game, I want the game to succeed, but not like this. This is basically just fucking scamming people. I do not know if they're intentionally doing this, but at least with me, you know that I'm gonna put out the fucking videos and I'm gonna do shit instead of fucking giving them money for overpriced JPEGs that you may never get because you might die. So if you want to support me, this is the weirdest fucking Patreon outro ever. So if you want to support me, there's gonna be a link down in the description of the video. And yeah, I love you all. And yeah, of course, subscribe, because with subscribing, you're entering the giveaway, and you all win my heart. And I love you all. And again, thank you for watching. And don't forget to bring a towel when you're traveling through space. And mwah, bye.
This question is simply, what is the plan on getting the older concepts out the door in a reasonable time frame?
The vehicle team, and I think I've talked about this in the past, like, we work to like a 18 to 24 month ahead of time schedule, and we get sort of fairly locked into that. The worst thing we can do is go, hey, you're working on an Aegis ship for 3 weeks. Oh, by the way, now you're working on an Origin ship for 3 weeks. Oh, by the way, now you're working on a Drake ship for 3 weeks. So we like to, wherever we can, and there has been exceptions in the past, once we start a ship, we see it through to the end of release, and we don't tend to start ships now in production without fairly firm guarantees that the gameplay is going to come with them at the end. that was different way back in the past. We would just work on a ship. We'd ask for the gameplay. If the gameplay wasn't there, we'd shove it out. Example, staff error. That's not how we want to do things these days. And hopefully people have seen that over the last, I don't want to say 3-4 years, where we deliver ships with their gameplay because it improves the experience for everyone.
It would also be fair to say that we've taken a couple diversions every once in a while and stuff like we embarked on an initiative to only develop ships that have relevant gameplay and stuff, and for the most part we've held to that with a couple minor hiccups every once in a while.